A quantum leap is the experience of space in order to collapse time that it takes to get to your destination. Here at the Mystic and the Magician podcast, we are going to teach you how to do that, the best ways to do it, and the most fulfilling results that you could experience. Welcome to the Mystic and the Magician podcast. This is your host, Cassandra, my co-host, Spring. Today we're going to be talking about quantum, time and space, and the Mandela Effect. And usually I don't talk about this. Usually it gives me a headache, and it's something that I avoid talking about with my clients. But I think it'll make for an amazing episode. And I have some Mandela Effects up. So I'm going to let Spring explain what a Mandela Effect is.
Hey, the Mandela Effect is when different people basically remember something in history completely different. And it's funny because this comes up a lot in our house because I have a lot of adult children that still live at home. And it's funny that somebody, like my son, came in one day and he's like, Mom, when did the Bearstein Bears change their name? And I was like, well, they didn't change their name. I grew up on that stuff. And he pulled out my youngest son, who's 6, storybook, and he's like, look, Mom. And the name was changed. And we both sat here dumbfounded. And we tried talking to everybody around us, and nobody else remembers the name change, just me and my son. So we're like, great, we're crazy. And then Cassandra is like, hey, did you ever hear the Mandela Effect? I was like, no. And I Google it, and then I stayed up with her until like 4 a.m. talking about the Mandela Effect. And now I'm not crazy.
So the thing about the Mandela Effect is that first you have to understand that time is not linear. The way that energy flows in our three-dimensional reality is actually a slower spiral than other places in the universe, and so it creates the illusion of linear time for us. So we experience everything elongated and going forwards and backwards when really everything is always happening simultaneously. Then you go into the quantum space. The quantum space is the world of infinite possibilities. It's a dimension where things have already happened, alternate realities have happened, alternate timelines clash. Like there's like a reality where, you know, someone else is president and maybe he does this and then our president does that, and then they kind of merge together, and there's these tiny little anomalies, also known as the Mandela Effect. So
basically changing history as we know it, right?
Basically changing history as we know it. So this is what we talk about as far as healing. When the past, we talk about this, but on a smaller scale, we talk about how the past is no longer attached to this timeline. So as timelines are coming in, they're also breaking off. So everything before now doesn't even exist in this space anymore. It's already moved somewhere else. So things are constantly shifting in and out of this three-dimensional reality, along with very many other three-dimensional realities. So that's how these little memories and anomalies happen. It's called the Mandela Effect because of Nelson Mandela. A lot of people remembered him dying and remembered his funeral and remembered it being televised before he actually died. So
see, I remember that. I do remember him dying. And then I was like, oh, well, I changed it myself. I was like, well, he just did that because that was like a publicity stunt, you know, they were trying to trick people.
A lot of people remember him dying in prison in the 80s, but he actually died in 2013. So for years, like half of the people thought he was already dead, and he wasn't. And people always...
I swore when I read this, when you said that he was dead. I remember watching the funeral on TV because it was the 80s. We didn't have cable. It was like, right. I remember that funeral.
You remember those 80s graphics on TV where shit was just not good.
Well, it was cool then, Cassandra.
So this one I don't remember. I remember some of them. I don't remember all of them. Okay, so there's certain ones that I specifically remember. So ones that I specifically remember, I'll tell you. But this is another one. And I actually feel like I do have a vague memory of this, if this is strange. So you know the peanut butter GIF? Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, well, people remember GIF being Jiffy.
Dude, it was Jiffy. It had a light blue lid. It was Jiffy.
They remember it being Jiffy. It was never Jiffy. They say people swear there was a Jiffy peanut butter back in the day, but we speculate they're combining Jif with the competitor Skippy.
I guess Skippy had to live, but Jif, who names peanut butter Jif? When you had Skippy as a competitor, you would have, all marketing psychology tells you would have named it Jiffy because there was already a Skippy. So I'm standing ground that it was Jiffy.
Another one is Looney Tunes. People remember that the cartoon was spelled Tunes, and it's actually spelled Toons.
This one, I felt like I remember the U because I remember they were singing, and then it was Looney Tunes. And
it was music, right? There wasn't a ton of
And I tried to prove it, and I was like, well, maybe I was wrong. So that one, I was like, maybe I misunderstood at the current time, but I don't know. They were singing, and they made a thing out of their singing tunes. I still think that one's right.
And then here's the big one that I will fight to the death about. Those fucking bears.
Dude, me and my son will join your fight because I'm so angry. I was so relieved that night you sent me that because I was like, thank goodness that I'm not crazy.
I remember the Berenstein Bears spelled with E-I-N. Berenstein. S-T-E-I-N. Berenstein. There is no record in history with this ever being a thing, and people have pulled their copyright.
I know, I saw it.
It is spelled Berenstein, S-T-A-I-N, and I don't remember it that way. I've never remembered it that way. I will fight to the death that it was never spelled that way.
Yeah, my son is 24, and he will also fight to the death that it had an E in it. So I don't know when they changed it.
Here's another big one, and people see. I remember this. Kevin doesn't remember a lot of these Mandela effects. He thinks that it's always been in this 3-dimensional reality, which makes sense because up until this point in his life, he's always lived exclusively on this 3-dimensional reality.
Yeah, Brian didn't believe any of these.
But I've always had these spiritual experiences and crazy deja vu, which is considered timeline hopping. So deja vu is the moment when you realize that timelines have clashed together because you've seen it before. Your memory, because you're existing on multiple planes. So when timelines clash together, multiple versions of your soul also clash together. So you're existing on multiple planes, and you clash together, and deja vu is the moment you remember a memory from another plane where it already happened. So this is another one. Curious George never had a tail.
I feel like he did. Okay, I didn't spend a lot of time looking at a monkey's butt, so okay.
I feel like I remember seeing him do stuff with his tail in the cartoon.
Yeah, so he held a banana.
Yeah, I feel like I remember him doing stuff.
He held a banana.
Yeah. I feel like I remember him doing stuff with his tail in the cartoon.
Yep.
A lot of people remember Sex and the City as Sex in the City. So
I don't know.
The real title is Sex and the City.
Sex and the City? That doesn't even make sense.
I know, that doesn't make sense.
They were having sex in the city.
It was all about sex and relationships in the city.
Yeah, in the city. They weren't going in the country and having sex.
It was weird. I wasn't huge into Sex in the City, though, so I just
No, I think I watched 3 episodes with my sister. That was it, because she was all into it.
Okay, here's one for me and you. Ready? Febreze. Okay, so let me find the difference. Okay, Febreze is spelled how it's actually spelled. This. Okay, no. Okay. This is confusing. It's actually spelled Febreze. And
this was an argument I had with Brian because I ran into the laundry room and grabbed the Febreze and brought it out. And I'm like, why do we call it Febreze when it's Free Breeze? It's Free Breeze. So from now on, we're all going to play the game.
Breeze. I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to hold it up for you to see it. Hold on. Oh, no. This is not right.
You can't.
This is not what I did.
I can't see it.
I messed it up. Okay, the bottle. I remember the old bottle. So the bottle that they're showing, let me try to show you again without messing it up. And I'll put this on YouTube also so you can see. Motherfucker. It's okay, we're rated E for explicit.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh! Right.
Okay, so the blue bottle with 2 E's is what I remember.
Yes.
It doesn't have 2 E's.
I know it doesn't. I went and got mine out of the laundry room because I was like, yeah, because why do we call it Febreze instead of Febreze? From now on, everyone has to call it Febreze to play the game.
In this one, in the real one, in the one that everyone's saying always existed, it looks French.
Febreze.
It looks French. I don't feel like it always was this French. Okay, next. Okay, this one's going to mess me up. Let me tell you something about this one, okay? I just want you to know. My mom, when I was little, used to always take me to these things, like they would have like little got milk gatherings and make you a milkshake, and you would take a picture with a celebrity and have a milk mustache on with the milkshake. Okay, like the got milk thing. And my mom used to do this with all of these stupid things, and I don't even know how she found them. I don't even know what made her, like, into this, but she took me to the Oscar Mayer wiener truck.
Okay, yeah.
And we would do this all the time. Everywhere the Oscar Mayer wiener truck was that was close to us, we would do this, and I would have to sing the song, and they would, like, record me singing the song. I don't even know what I was doing. I have vague memories of this. But Oscar Mayer was spelled Mayer. In reality. That's this reality. Right. People remember it Meyer. But there was a song.
There was a song. Yes.
There was a song. And it was My Baloney Had a First Name. That song. And I don't feel like there was an A there. It was Meyer.
Right? We all sang it while
we sang the song.
Walking down the street. Yeah.
So that's that. I'll fight about that because my mom took me to those things.
You're like, I sang that song.
Skechers is the next one. It doesn't have a T in it.
I can't remember enough to argue on that one.
I feel like it did have a T in it.
I feel like it did have a T.
Skechers was like a huge commercial on like Nickelodeon and stuff when I was a kid. I'm a 90s kid. So I feel like that was a big thing. And then here's your Fruit Loops.
Dude, my daughter like was ready to throw fists at people last night or 2 nights ago when that came up.
Yeah. So it was never spelled fruit the way that you think it was spelled fruit. And you said something about his beak.
She remembers a rainbow beak.
Yeah, he's got a black beak in the picture.
Yeah, she swears she remembers a rainbow beak.
So then there's King Henry and his turkey leg. People remember him holding a turkey leg in the picture.
Okay, now I'm going to say, like, I'm a huge King Henry VIII. I'm not going to say fan because he chopped his wife's heads off, but I am a huge fan of history.
Yeah, your history.
And I love his history because it's so crazy. And there was a picture of him holding a turkey leg because he was extremely fit and extremely good looking when he was younger. And as he got older, he abused the food and the sweets, and he was known for gaining all this weight And they did paint a picture of him later with him holding a turkey leg, basically making fun of his poor health decisions.
This is saying that he was never holding a turkey leg.
Well, I'm telling ya. He was. Because they was making fun of him for being fat.
I'm letting you know. Here's one I will also, oh my God, I will fight to the death about this too. And they've made jokes about this in movies. I remember seeing Jim Carrey make a joke about this in the movie. The Monopoly man never had a monocle.
I swear he did.
He did. I know he did.
It just blows my mind. Like, where did all this stuff go? Like, you go crazy trying to prove this to people. Because
there was a movie where Jim Carrey goes up to a guy with the mustache and the monocle and the hat and says,
yes.
I don't know if it was Jim Carrey.
Liar.
Yes. And he's like, what are you, the Monopoly guy?
Him, I think.
Yeah.
Unless that whole scene's now gone.
Knowing my luck, it would be. Like, I'd be fighting with someone and, like, try to pull up that scene in a movie and it doesn't exist anymore. I swear that's probably happened to me.
I got into a fight one time with this guy over a song that was said one way, and then, like, I was arguing with him so mad, and I knew I was right. I called the radio station, and then I ended up fighting with the DJ, telling the DJ he was wrong. And they put it on the air. I am on the air on the radio fighting with a DJ. That's me.
I believe that. So here's another one, and this is for 90s kids too, like millennials. Pikachu. Let's talk about Pikachu. It says that everyone remembers Pikachu having a black tip on his tail. And in real life, Pikachu has a solid yellow tail.
No.
Yeah.
I have literally watched Pikachu for 20 years. That damn rat thing had a black tail.
Yeah. It's not real.
I doodled him with a little black tail. Why would I do that?
Kit Kat has no hyphen. And now I'm really messed up. That just messed me up just now because I've been buying Kit Kats. I had Kit Kats yesterday. I had Kit Kats yesterday.
Have a hyphen now?
It doesn't have a hyphen.
I swear it did.
I swear it did. Fruit of the Loom. Oh, this is a good one. Fruit of the Loom. Let's talk about this one. Okay, it was the fruit in the logo used to be inside a basket, like a spun basket. It's not. It's not inside a basket.
That one bugged me a lot because I swore it was in a basket. So what happened to the basket?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Why'd they take the basket away?
What
did you change in history that took the basket away from the fruit?
If this episode doesn't make you feel insane, please feel free to reach out to me.
Or if you're insane, we can start a support group.
Join our group. I'll put our free community in the. I'll put our free community in the comments in the show notes, so that way you can join and let us know how this episode made you feel as a human being. As a human being, are we even people anymore? So check this one out. Cheez-Its. It's just Cheez-It.
No hyphen.
No Z at the end.
No, but it did have a Z.
No Z. It's Cheez-It.
It was like.
I know. I know how you feel.
So I'm ready to join the support group now.
All right, so here's another one. And I eat Oreos too. Like, this is shit that I see all the time. Double stuff Oreo. Did you know that in real life, Oreo spelled stuff, S-T-U-F? Why would they do that?
Yeah, why would you purposely misspell something? That's not even cute.
I just don't understand. Okay, here's a good one. This is for you. Ready? Mona Lisa smile. There are a lot of people claiming that Mona Lisa used to have a more obvious smile than she actually does now. It wasn't a big smile, but the side of her mouth used to come up more into more of like a smirk or a soft smile.
I'm not positive on that one because I do remember looking at her a lot. And so I don't know. Because I looked at that one a lot too, and then I felt like I believed it both ways.
This is for Star Wars people. The next one is that CP30. C3P. Am I? Fuck
C3PO.
It. Fuck it. He has a silver leg.
I don't remember a silver leg.
In real life right now, in this fake real life, he has a silver leg.
So right now, if I put on Star Wars, that gold droid has a silver leg. I'm going to have to watch Star Wars. My husband's going to have a fantastic weekend because now I'm going to spend all weekend trying to unfuck my mind.
Okay, so here's another one. The Flintstones. People remember the Flintstones having, it's spelled Flin, stones, but it's actually got 2 T's in it. Which, when you look at the word, it looks messed up. It looks weird with 2 T's.
Yeah, it looks like somebody purposely messed it up. And you're like, I don't remember watching that on the TV
having like 2 T's.
No.
And the thing about kids is that kids remember images. Kids are really good with remembering images. So the fact, like, it could be spelled like that, but the fact that it comes up like that, that's what's triggering me. It doesn't look right.
It doesn't look right. And so when you look at it, it looks out of place. And you're like, if I've been seeing this my whole life,
it wouldn't look like this. Right. Chartreuse. Spring, what color is chartreuse?
Bluish green.
It's pink.
What?
It's pink.
Okay. I mean,
everyone remembers it as green. Everyone remembers it as green. This is a real thing.
Crazy.
Forrest Gump is the next one. He doesn't say life is like a box of chocolates. I know.
What does he say?
Does this episode not make you want to like punch somebody? Like,
we make fun of that all the time. Mama says life is like a box of chocolates. What does he say then?
Life was like a box of chocolates.
So then, well,
I don't think that makes sense, nor do I think it fits the storyline, because then he goes and,
it fits the storyline because he's telling you. But why would your mama say that? If you're telling a story to somebody, you wouldn't say something in past tense.
But he's also on his way to see Jenny, who he hasn't seen in years, so you still don't know what you're going to get.
And he's telling the story. It wasn't the narrator telling that part. It was him
telling someone the story on like the bus bench.
And you wouldn't talk in past tense if you were in present tense.
Right.
That's stupid. We're still right.
Here's another one. Snow White. The queen never says mirror, mirror on the wall. She says magic mirror on the wall.
I don't believe that.
No. Doesn't feel right to me.
I actually did watch the movie after you shared this with me. I watched the movie and she does. She says magic mirror. I don't know when that changed. Here's another
Star Wars one. And I knew this previously to now because Kevin and I, our first dates ever were Star Wars. So I did know this. But Darth Vader never says, Luke, I am your father. He says, this isn't right. This isn't right. He says, I am your father, but he doesn't say, Luke, I am your father. I think he says that he says something else before that wasn't Luke and just says, I am your father.
Yeah. We actually argued this. Me and Brian were like, I don't know. I was reading it to him. He was arguing with me saying I was wrong to say that he didn't say that Then he pulled out the movie. We had a Star Wars marathon. It ruined
And you were right.
Star Wars. And of course, the Mandela effect has occurred, and now he doesn't say that.
It's so funny because, I mean, Star Wars has such a massive fan base for everyone to say that someone said the same thing and then it not be there.
Wrong. All of us are wrong. Yeah.
Gandalf in Lord of the Rings has a memorable line in which he says, "Run, you fools." But that's not the case either. He says, "Fly, you fools." And you know what's funny is I just watched Lord of the Rings and I still feel like he said, "Run, you fools."
Yeah, I watched that movie one time when it first came out, and I swear he said, "Run, you fools," because I laughed so hard. And I didn't laugh at all during that movie, but that
yeah.
Now I'm like,
so I'm wondering if with this time and space thing, because I've just watched this, if I'm actually still connected to like a simultaneous timeline where I'm conscious and where these anomalies exist. So because time isn't linear, as I just said, that it didn't already happen and it isn't going to happen. It's all happening simultaneously at once. So I feel like some of us maybe are a little more connected to like alternate realities happening where we remember these things, even though they're happening like right now.
Right.
Because it's not like one sudden shift. Because I just watched Lord of the Rings. I just watched it. You know?
Yeah, we watched Star Wars not too long ago before we talked about this article, and he didn't have no silver leg.
I think that some of us who aren't so grounded in this three-dimensional reality have connection to other possible realities, which I think that everyone could. You know what I mean? I think everyone has access, but it's just a matter of development, conditioning, and all of those things. Here's another one from Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal Lecter does not say hello, Clarice. He says, "Good morning, Clarice." I don't remember that. I remember hello, Clarice. Why would we all say that?
Yeah, and she went and saw him like all different times of the day. So,
right. This one is a big one for me. This one is huge. I know that this one happened or happens in some other possible reality. And it only happens, I only remember it happening once in the song because I remember listening to the song word for word because I used to work in this little backdoor hole in the wall bar. So listen, this song by Freddie Mercury, "We Are the Champions." At the very end of the song, he says, "Of the world." It's like trailing off. It's like trailing off at the end of the song. This is like
the fight song for every high school, right? Every high school's fight song.
We are the champions. Yeah. He doesn't ever say "of the world."
No, this was the one. Brian was like, why would we all say that if it didn't happen? So this is like, now my husband is very, very set over here in a very 3D world. He does not belong in 5D at all. He won't even go there, won't pretend to go there. He got so mad at me that I told him it didn't say that. And he's like, why have I been singing it all this time? We put it on, and then he turns around and tells me I'm crazy. Even though he just agreed with me. And then he's like, maybe we just made it up.
I remember being at the bar. I used to bartend. I remember being at this hole-in-the-wall bar that I used to work at, and they put this song on, and I was listening to it. I remember listening to it because I didn't exist in the time when Freddie Mercury was big and touring and all of these things. Like, I didn't exist in that time. So my memory of him is not a lot. So I'm listening to this song, and, you know, I remember hearing it from, like, friends and stuff because it's, like, the celebration song. So I'm listening to the song, and I remember at the end of the song, as the music is starting to trail off, he says, "Of the world."
Yeah.
I remember it. But it's not in there.
During the 90s, it was like every high school's fight song that you would sing at the pep rallies and, right before your football game, and we'd all sing it. And
well, I didn't go to high school, really, so that might be part of the problem, because I have babies.
There were many days I wasn't there.
But also, my high school didn't really...
I went to the prep rallies.
I've been to other states, and they have, like, whole football stadiums. Like, my high schools don't even have, like, really bleachers around here. Like, we don't have good setups for kids to participate in, like, football and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think we have pep rallies, really, whereas, like, southern states, like, a lot of southern states or, like, western states have them.
We had to, because it was, like, in the desert, and there was nothing there but our high school. We had to have pep rallies, and then we had to have a giant bonfire.
So... the next one is Mr. Rogers.
Oh, gosh.
He actually says it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, not the neighborhood.
I watched Mr. Rogers diligently as a child. No, that was my favorite song growing up.
I don't like it. I
was one of these people, I was, on a roll, straight A student. I never got things wrong. I would get mad if I was wrong. If someone told me I was wrong, so there's no way I would have sang that song wrong and been okay with it.
Okay, listen. The next one I'm going to say might shock you, especially as a history buff, okay? I always ask this when I have a question in relation to our national geography. I always have to ask this question, and people always look at me like I am fucking stupid. Everyone knows that we have 50 states. But there was a point in time where I remember that we had 52.
I remember 51, but I was told recently we had 52 because they were going to count Puerto Rico and what we own in the Virgin Islands.
So I'm talking like back in like 97, 98, like that's when I was taught that there was like 51 or 52. And I actually really wanted to say like 53. But I always have to ask, I'm like, how many states are there? And everyone's always like, there's always been 50. There's always 50 states. There's 50 states. Like, how are you this stupid? And I'm like, I'm not stupid. I just really remember someone telling me there was 52.
I wonder if it's the Puerto Rico. I don't know. I remember it's 50.
It's crazy because I've counted them. I know where they all are. I know what all their names are. I don't know what other two there would be, but I remember 52. Right.
I can go less and less and less, but not ever more other than our U.S. territories.
So, all right. No. This can't be right. This can't be right. What? No. It didn't exist?
Well, share.
Hold on. I gotta Google this one. I don't believe it. Shazam. Okay, no. It didn't exist?
What didn't exist?
No. I remember that movie. I remember this movie. This movie doesn't exist. I remember this movie. I'm really upset. I'm really startled right now. There was a movie where Sinbad played a genie, and the movie was called Shazam.
That was Shaquille O'Neal.
No. People think that they're messing it up with the movie called Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal. It's not. I thought Shazam that they just remade in 2019 was a remake. I thought it was a remake.
Okay, now I thought it was a remake. Okay. This was an argument I did have with Brian because I did believe that he was in a movie. I mean, remember when he was big as an actor?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I thought it came out. It would have been 93, 4?
Right. I remember watching it with my cousin because there was two movies. There was Kazam and there was Shazam, and there was two movies. And I thought that the Shazam, I thought they got remade.
Yeah, I thought this last one was a remake.
It's not. That movie wasn't real.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right. Well, that's how the paragraph ends. Who really knows? Like, I really know. I remember that movie.
Darn it. I remember watching it with my cousin. My whole life's a lie now.
All right. So, another thing is that Smokey the Bear doesn't have the on his name. His name is Smokey Bear. That wasn't real.
Okay, see, my husband was a state park ranger in the state of New Mexico, where Smokey the Bear was. I've been to Smokey Bear Park, and I swear there's a the. I swear there's a the.
Okay, here's one you'll like because you like history and stuff like that. All right, in 1989, there was a man, an unidentified man known as Tank Man, who walked in front of a tank. Or I don't know what he was doing. It doesn't go into detail about what he was doing. Many people remember him being run over and killed. But there are videos that show him moving away from the scene.
Huh.
You don't remember this?
No.
It's okay.
No,
it's okay, because we can just talk about Neil Armstrong's death. Okay. People had no recollection of Neil Armstrong's death. And he passed in August 2012. So there's a lot of people that didn't know he was dead. I think maybe that might be a mix-up with Lance Armstrong. I think maybe they're like, because I remember him kind of dying. Like, I remember it being mentioned.
No, okay. Now, me and my daughter believed that in 1969 they landed on the moon. Then we watched a whole bunch of films, like a whole bunch, because this kid is all about educating me. Now, we're not sure we really believe that.
That he died? The moon landing. Yeah.
The moon. They went into all these astronauts and how everything was fake and how they hid the death. I mean, this was crazy. And when I read this and it said 2012, I was like, no. He passed away 2016.
Yeah, so I think that, okay, so when we landed on the moon, there was like a rush. There was kind of like an arms rush, if you will. There was like a space rush. Like all of the countries were trying to get to the moon first.
Russia was so far ahead of us.
Yeah.
Like, so far.
So I do believe that we went to the moon at some point, but I don't think it was when they said it was. I think that the U.S. just wanted to be first on the moon.
Yeah.
And so eventually we did go to the moon, but there was definitely a space rush. And I don't even know like why they were rushing to the moon. Like obviously there's no life on the moon. Energy. You can see it. Yeah, it's basically just egos and big dick energy. I don't know why we're rushing to the moon. We wanted to
be first.
If we could just work together as a planet, we would get done so much more. All right. Billy Graham's death, like Mandela, many can't place when Billy Graham's funeral aired on TV. That's probably because it didn't happen long ago. He died in 2018. This episode is stressful. This episode is probably one of the more stressful episodes that we'll ever do.
Well, my daughter was like a giant fan of his. when she was really little, and she would come in my room every night and do an infomercial for me. And it was always hilarious because she was so little and so cute. And when he died, I was so sad because I'm sorry, like I'm crying. I'm not. My throat's dry. I was sad that he died because he was her idol, right? So, and it feels like it was a little bit later than 2018. I'm thinking it was, I'm thinking it was 2015.
Yeah.
That's when I think he died in real time. Not this fake reality we live in. Lies.
I think it's all fake. I think even our memories are fake. I think we're just seeing like glimpses of things from other realities all of the time. Which is why it's important to rise into the quantum space. Like, I feel like it's really important to rise into the quantum space. Because if everything's fake anyways, you might as well just manifest and do some quantum energy work and just create your reality the way you want it.
Exactly. So why stress about fake crap?
It's not even real. Like, everyone... So let's think about this for a minute before we move on. We have like 3 more left. Let's think about this for a minute. If you're constantly making decisions out of your past memories, like, oh, someone's always hurt me, like every time I'm in a relationship, they hurt me or they leave me, or like any type of like issues that you may have from past experiences. And then you make decisions now in the present based on the expectation that history will repeat itself, then you're really just creating that reality because what happened in the past doesn't even exist here anymore.
And it probably didn't even happen that way.
It probably didn't even. Yeah. It's probably a perception or an experience that your experiences are real, your feelings are real, but to create your future based on them, I mean, that timeline's already left and went to another reality. Like, everything's kind of just bouncing around.
Pause a minute.
Okay.
Okay. So if I believe that, my husband said I couldn't have a puppy.
Okay.
But I also believe that Freddie Mercury said of the world, maybe my husband really said I could have a puppy.
Only one way to find out. Just bring home a puppy.
Just bring home the puppy.
Just bring home a puppy. Everyone loves puppies.
So he might not have really said I can't have a puppy.
The past didn't actually happen anymore. It's not in this reality.
Just like Freddie Mercury said of the world, my husband said I could have a puppy.
Yep. Or you imagine the whole conversation because apparently we're insane.
Well, no, because then he says I never asked. So that didn't happen.
Yeah, see? You never asked. Okay, so let's talk about Linda's baby. The Lindbergh baby. Aviator Charles Lindbergh's infant son was kidnapped. The entire world focused their attention on the story. Many remember the case going cold, but they sadly found the body and sentenced the killer to death for the heinous crime.
Now, I have researched this. I wrote reports on this. If they remember it being cold, then that reality changed before I was in high school.
What do you mean?
When I was in high school.
Okay. So, like, you mean like the timeline clashed before
that? Holy crap. Holy crap. Hold on. Wait a minute. In high school, they found the baby, but they never knew who did it. When my daughter was in high school,
they had the killer.
Oh, I have goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beans.
Isn't that crazy? So yeah, that's what they mean by the case went cold. Like, they couldn't find the killer. So they remember
found the baby when I was in high school and did a report on it. They had the baby, but not the killer.
And now they have the killer.
Mm-hmm. He was actually the boyfriend of the babysitter.
Oh, that's bad.
Their nanny.
That's not cool.
He took the baby to, had it wrapped in a blanket and had a ladder, and the ladder broke, and he slipped, and he dropped the baby, and the baby died. So he buried it right there. He was actually taking it to ransom the baby.
Oh, so he didn't mean to.
Yeah, he didn't mean to kill the baby. He probably was going to give it back.
Okay. Patrick Swayze's health. The actor died after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, but people have said they remember him recovering.
No, I don't.
I never really paid attention to Patrick Swayze.
He raised Arabian horses, which are like my most favorite thing on the face of the planet. So I loved him, not because of Dirty Dancing. I loved him because we loved the same kind of horses. And he was a big advocate for the breed because they're not a cool breed.
You loved him as a person. And
I loved him as a person, not for his body. And when he died, I was absolutely crushed.
Thank you for not sexualizing celebrities, Spring.
You're welcome. You know I'm good for that.
All right, Leonardo DiCaprio's first Oscar, when it came out in 2016 or 2015 or whenever it came out that everyone threw a giant fit that Leonardo DiCaprio did not have an Oscar. They were confused because he was nominated 5 other times and people had remember him winning before. So when
I never remember him winning because that was another one that I'm gonna marry him one day. I have a massive crush on him.
I love him too.
I've always been
He's a good person too.
Give him a trophy. He deserves one. He's fabulous.
Isn't it funny how like it's really just trophies? Like they're really just trophies.
They're just trophies.
They're just trophies. You made a good movie this year. Here you go.
Here's your gold star.
Okay, the location of the Disney World castle. If you've ever been to Magic Kingdom, do you recall where the castle was located? This is not written properly. Someone, Orlando local on Reddit, clearly remembers it being the entrance to the park. I also remember it being kind of the entrance, like you go up and it's like straight.
Right.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
That bugs the crap out of me because
I lived there. I
remember walking through it and I waited my whole life. Like, I'm a huge Disney freak, right? Like, huge. I never made it to Disney World until I took myself. I had to take myself when I was 18.
How much did you love it, though?
Well, no, I was pregnant and I couldn't ride nothing. I was huge pregnant. It was miserable. But I was like, I am here now. Well, I remember walking through the castle because I was disappointed that I didn't get to go into the castle. And you walk through the castle and then you were into the park.
Yeah, so I remember being like that when I was a kid. That you would like walk through the castle to go into the park. But
I'm like 10 years older than you. So 18.
But I moved to Florida in 2015 and then I remember it being like you go up and then the castle's kind of like straight in front of you after you enter the park. Like it's kind of in the middle.
You pay your ticket and then
you go up and
that
it's the
actually
castle.
Opened up into the actual amusement park.
Yeah. It's not.
No, I have pictures.
Check your pictures.
And I hate how I have pictures and there's pictures of me standing there, but now when I go pull my pictures out, they're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm not offended anymore because I didn't walk through whatever. You're making me mad.
I know. This episode's very frustrating, but it's the truth. So, like, the way that time and space works, and this is how we do a lot of energy work, guys, it's based on this time and space, is that there's infinite possible realities happening all simultaneously right now, as well as all of your past lives and future lives, quote unquote, past and future, all happening simultaneously right now. And the soul has memory and is connected to all of them at once.
I have hypnotized people, and she didn't want to see the one that was really amazing. She didn't want to see anything traumatic. She didn't want anything traumatic. So she asked to see, we were real specific on our wording. We asked to see the life, not past, present, or future, the life that left the most impact on her. And she had the most confused look on her face when I said, can you describe what you're wearing? And her face was like, you could see her face wrinkle up. It's like she had no clue what she was wearing. She's like, is from the future. This is something from the future. It's a white full body suit. And she was so confused by everything that was going on in that world because it was from the future.
So everything's happening like totally simultaneously right now. There's not really a past and a future. Our brain needs to see it that way because we function on linear time because of the speed that energy functions here. Yeah. Also, another thing is that the Earth in this reality focuses really exclusively on like electromagnetic waves, which have an electric pulse to them, but that's only like 0.005% of the energy in the universe. So on a real level, like we have to experience linear time because we're here, but in like everywhere else, we don't really like have to experience it that way. So when we do energy work and we trace energy and we quantum manifest and we do all of these things, we can pull things into this reality from other timelines and other, future, past, present, and we can bring it into right now. But we have to first acknowledge that time and space don't work in a linear way. And something Joe Dispenza said really quick was that, if you're going to walk to your car, you're collapsing the space between you and the car, and you're experiencing the time it takes for you to walk to your car. And so in order to collapse time to quantum manifest, you would do the opposite. You would experience space to collapse time. So you would have to go within to go without, like go within, like through meditations and through the like quantum realm to pull it in.
It's funny. Like I called you this morning when I had that course show up in my online courses I have that I bought for Google Analytics and how to get your stuff in a Google search.
Oh, yeah. And you said that wasn't there anymore.
And it wasn't there anymore. But what I had yesterday, I said, you sent me that Pinterest hashtag course, I was thinking, I wish I had something that gave me like cell psychology for like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest.
Oh my God, you changed your course. You changed the course you bought.
When I went in there, that whole course was everything that I just asked for. Nothing on the Google Analytics.
But not what you bought.
Nothing what I bought. And I bought this like 6 months ago. So I am like floored that, and I've had this course. I looked at it 2-3 days ago and I was like, I need to finish this course because I paid for it, but I was hating it. It didn't cover anything I wanted and it wasn't helping me in my business. So it was wasting my time. And now all of a sudden, it's not wasting my time. It's exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to question it. This I'm not angry about.
Yeah, but think about that. So you just did it. So you just pulled something into this reality that existed somewhere else, and it wasn't what you remember buying. So we can literally create our lives like this, and that's something that we're going to be focused on very shortly in the future. We're doing a lot of energetic experiences. Well, both of those things. We're doing those things. To give it to other people because this reality is literally what you create it to be. And I feel like when we have mass Mandela effects like that, where everyone remembers similar things happening, it's because we have all pulled in something together. Like we've all wanted something together. Like, when there's mass movements, like what's going on in the world, like we're all aiming for something together, like planetary healing, global equality, like all of these things that we all want.
I had one of our clients text me the other night, and she was talking about 20 years ago, there being some crazy Mandela effects. And 20 years ago was when I had a really bad experience with an intuitive, with my spirit contacts and psychic abilities, and it was terrifying, so much so that I gave up on being a psychic and dropped all mediumship and all intuitiveness and everything. I wouldn't touch it. I was terrified of it. And that was about 20 years ago. And she was saying that 20 years ago that she was experiencing like constant Mandela effects, and she's like, I felt like I was crazy. And so then I started thinking, I was like, there must have been 20 years ago another big pull or shift like you were saying.
Well, there was that thing in astrology that happens on off every 10 years. So every 20 years it's on, and every 20 years
all
it's
of
off.
The Mercury, Jupiter, and Pluto
increments of 10. Yeah. So like 20 years ago, like this is the 10th year where it goes on again. So 20 years ago it was on, and then 10 years ago it went off. And then this is the year that it goes back on. Like, so they come together and then they repel each other or something. They like kind of like retrograde or something, whatever they do to move. So they come together and then they retrograde 10 years on, 10 years off. So this is a giant shift again.
I don't remember 20 years ago though. Like, it seems like 2020 is like super angry. Like all of 2020, ever since New Year's, it's been such a hot
I
mess.
feel like it's also like undoing so much that we've done in the last 20 years. Like all of this, like the earth is healing, and we've polluted it for 20 years. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's a lot of shifting into undoing some damage we've done in order to move forward.
And see, I think that people are a lot more mindful now than they were 20 years ago.
They are, but there's
20
still
years ago,
so much
you
damage.
could use plastic straws everywhere. Now it's hard. You're hard pressed to get a plastic straw.
Yeah.
Plastic trash bags. Those aren't welcome on any of our beaches on the East Coast anymore. You can't take a trash bag over here, like a plastic grocery bag.
It shocked me when I moved to Florida how much pollution they were allowed to have, being something that's a peninsula. We were actually, they had a lot of pollution going on, a lot of pollution. And on the beaches, it was really sad to me because, you know, like up here in Maryland, that is not a peninsula, we have a very small coastline, you know, and just the bay. We don't have as much water pollution as Florida does.
That's sad.
Yeah.
We're really strict here, and then the Outer Banks, where I spend most of my time, is really strict.
Yeah. And then shockingly, the dump that we would have to use was right on the coastline. It was like not far from the coastline.
Oh, I'm offended. I'll take 2020 then, if we can go back and reverse some of that stuff.
Yeah, so like I really felt like I felt sad about that and seeing that when I moved there, because I had made the assumption that states that were surrounded by water would be doing more to prevent that. As states that make their money off of beaches and tourism, then I would assume they would be helping maintain wildlife, and they were not.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. That makes me sad.
Yeah. So I think that we just like go off of what we experience here in our homes, but we don't know what's going on other places. And
that's true.
You know, so I think there's a lot of like healing and mindfulness to be done around what we've done as people. But
I saw that in the UK, there's a bird that they thought was extinct, but I guess they've opened up some area that used to be fully grazed, and now nobody's grazing on it. And this kind of pheasant that they thought was extinct has been spotted again.
I saw that happen with a type of turtles. Like when the beaches were closed, this breed of turtles that they assumed was extinct, when it was closed, the beach was closed, they came back and laid more eggs.
Wow.
And it was because I think that with like the way that they migrate, like, you know how like sharks go back to the same place that they were born to have pups. Right. So I think that maybe turtles might be the same. They go back to like the same beaches where they were born, and they can't do it if there's like people, like overpopulated people just like always on the beaches.
Right. Wow. Oh.
Yeah. So it's done some healing.
Yeah.
But that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed Mandela Affecting with us today. And I will put our community group, our free community group, in the show notes if you want to stop in and tell us how frustrated you were listening to this.
Yeah, we'll start a support group because, I don't know, I need a cyber hug now because I'm
Right. All right, guys. Have a great one.
Bye.